Anyone that's been following my recent videos will know that I've been showing examples of what I'm calling hand stones, stones that fit into the size of the hand or hands. And I noticed that within those stones they fit into size categories or orders based on the width of fingers. So I'm now moving on to the 5 finger width category. This one shows the width of 5 fingers, and I'm showing this piece first because it sort of seems to incorporate a few of the different kind of common features for this size range. The main feature being the face on the right with a kind of look to the lower right. Here we get the eye, nose here, the mouth, and a particular characteristic of this size range is the kind of the half face, and with the top lip of the mouth curving over from the left, almost sort of indicating a moustache, perhaps indicating a bearded character with quite long hair. You see this definition here that gives the impression of long hair, and then wearing a hat that in most cases has a conical triangular shape as it sits on the head. This particular piece also has quite a totemic feel, as in there are quite a lot of other faces that you can pick out, particularly along this left edge looking off to the left, and that's a kind of another recurring theme that we might see in these stones as well. And in particular with this piece, if we kind of shift it a bit and we look at this backside, we get this face here, eye, nose and mouth, quite clearly I'd say a female character representation, with the arm coming out here, almost giving the impression of a kind of cradling posture, and I would take that to indicate symbolism relating to the mother and child motif, which you see a lot within the art stones anyway. And then I've noticed that is another kind of recurring theme. It doesn't show on every stone in this size range, but on quite a lot of them. So another kind of recurring theme, the mother and child. So again, that's the main theme being the face on the bottom right that looks sort of downward to the right, and then the mother and child theme is a kind of character, additional character, and just wanted to get the lighting on this. We get the face with the eye, nose, mouth, comes up nicely. Sometimes a bit more noticeable if we tilt it back, move it a bit. You can see the face representation is really nice, really good quality work. But we can also see some of the additional figures that are faces in particular that come out along the right edge, creating a kind of figure, and then the female face here with the mother and child theme. So I've kind of been covering with the stones ideas that some of the imagery could link to the Proto-Indo-European pantheon of deities, with the Sky Father, Earth Mother, and then another god that seems to have parallels with gods like Thor, god of thunder, called Perkunos, a god of thunder, and that character is particularly identified as someone with quite a full beard that's kind of tangled and matted, quite wild looking, and I do wonder if this character here, the bottom right, is signifying Perkunos, again a parallel to Thor. So in the 4 finger width range, I was wondering whether the Birdman character related to the Skyfather, and perhaps in this size range the male face at the bottom right is perhaps relating to Perkunos. The mother and child might be the Earth Mother, from the pantheon, who, and in a lot of traditions, the Skyfather and Earth Mother are the mother and father of Perkunos. So perhaps how some of the symbolism is tying together. Last thing I wanted to show with this stone is the interesting face on the right, on the left. Obviously here's the face on the right, but we can get this face here with eye, nose, mouth, but that face can also be one of the talking stones. You can see here the mouth, you just tilt it a bit and it makes it look as though the mouth is opening and closing, so it can be a talking stone. And these talking stones I actually find a lot here in the UK, and there are lots of old myths and legends about talking stones, so I just wanted to show this one because it's a pretty cool example of that kind of thing, the talking stone. And it obviously uses the anamorphic technique, where the face is made in this series of removal sections here, lengthways, and by turning it on the side you get that face. Another face, if you tilt it up, can be made with the nose in this section, so eye, nose, mouth. So a pretty interesting stone with a lot of features, one of the busier ones in this size category. 5 finger widths. So again we have the face to the lower right, looking lower right, eye, nose, mouth. With this kind of mouth arrangement, it has a feline aspect. And again, face is on the left, with the eye, nose, mouth. Prominent face here on the lower left, but then a larger face, eye, nose, mouth. So kind of composite faces, totem-like faces on the left. But also this piece, the actual main face, is on the very lower right, with the eye, nose, mouth, and then a conical hat. More noticeable right now from the side view, but if I just tilt this piece back, here we can really see the features again, eye, nose, mouth, even have kind of nostril there, and again it's the feature of the top lip coming over from the left, giving the impression of a moustache, beard. So the bearded character again with the conical hat. It's a really lovely piece. You can see the work on it. Several places where you can see chisel marks on this piece, and you can definitely see the removal. So it's a really nice example. Anamorphic technique as well, where again the features are kind of stretched out on this plane. You turn it to the side, they kind of collapse to form the facial features. And I will just get some alternative lighting because the features do come out really nicely. This piece was found at the site of a Neolithic flint mine, and I believe it was calcined, so it's heat treated, just enough to get this cracking going on, and you can see the removal to create the features. 5 finger widths. Again, the face to the lower right, looking lower right, eye, nose, mouth, with the conical hat, headwear. Seems to be a bearded figure. It's that same kind of technique of the top lip coming over from the left, giving the impression of a moustache, beard, and we can see that more clearly here. This fracturing, very similar to the last piece that I showed. Perhaps a feline, slight feline feel again to this face. And if we get it in the alternative lighting, those features do really come out nicely. Again, face to the lower right, using the kind of crack work here, kind of almost morphs to a feline looking face, looking straight at you, and then we can twist it and it more looks to the right. So that kind of interesting anamorphic, polymorphic technique going on with this piece. 5 finger widths. Again, main face to the lower right, looking lower, looking down, with the eye, nose, and then mouth, slightly open mouth. A lot of composite faces, so there's another face built into his kind of cheek area here, the eye, nose, mouth, and other faces to be discerned in all of this, and those features do come out nicely in the alternate lighting. Perhaps another face to be seen along this left edge, lower left here. With this piece, it's a bit different to some of the others in this size range, quite unique. You get the sort of face look that looks straight on from this edge, eyes with the nose, and then the mouth. But as we twist the piece, we get a lot of detail on this side as well. Eye, nose seems to be defining some kind of an animal along this lower part here when we turn it around, and that is quite, that doesn't seem to crop up in too many of the other pieces in this particular size range, but there's so much going on with this piece. We can get a figure along this edge, which could be hinting at the mother and child figure along this edge. This piece was found at the foot of Silbury Hill, the large Neolithic mound, man-made mound, Silbury Hill. 5 finger widths. Quite a unique one for this size range, is in it kind of has this L shape to it, but if we have it kind of using the L shape, almost making a right angle, then it fits in the 5 finger width range. And the face again is represented on the lower right, with the eye here, nose, and the mouth here. We kind of get the indication of a moustache, but it actually curves around on this piece to the right as opposed to the left, which is what we've seen on most of them, although it does kind of seem to come around here as a moustache. So again, that same character, but with this kind of right angle feel, we also, from the side view, you can see we kind of get the impression of the head of a dog, its neck, and then the head here with the eye, nose, and the mouth. even sort of get the impression of an ear, so a dog's head as well with this piece. But the face is best if we tilt it back a little bit, and then we can really see the face representation. Again, eye, nose and mouth, that kind of anamorphic feel to it. And I will just get the lighting on that as well. The features do sort of pop out. 5 finger widths. Get the face to the right, eye, nose, mouth, quite defined lips, jaw, rest of the head, kind of hat, large hat shape, maybe a bird shape as well to be found, eye, beak, body of a bird, which is obviously something we saw a lot in the previous size order, the 4 finger width size order. But that will be with the face looking off to the left, not to the right. And this piece, this face, kind of, I feel it really looks nice if we sort of have it like this with the light on it. Eye, nose, mouth here. Almost looks like a bald man, but if we turn it, we can get a face here, a female, it seems. The mother and child theme can definitely be seen here with this piece. Interestingly, we get another face represented here, looks like a female looking downward, but again with the cradling arm. So, and again, perhaps another additional representation of the mother and child theme. 5 finger widths. Very stylized face to the lower right with the eye here, then the nose and mouth. Really comes out. Again, eye, nose, mouth. We also get possibly a bird form, but certainly the mother and child with the face up here, eye, nose, mouth, in the cradling posture, cradling over here. So a really strong mother and child theme with this piece. 5 finger widths. This piece is quite interesting because it sort of different to all the other ones I've shown so far in this size order. The face, this kind of main face, seems to be the bottom left, looking off to the bottom left rather than the bottom right. Although there is a face representation that can be discerned on the right here with eye, nose, mouth. I would still say the dominant one seems to be this one on the bottom left, and this face, something about it is reminiscent of the ones that we've been seeing, with all the rest on the bottom right, but it just happens to be on the bottom left here. But we still get that kind of conical shape to the head, where perhaps more headdress like with this piece, and it does, the features definitely on this face come out lovely in the lighting with the eye, again, nose, mouth here, jawline, rest of the head, conical headwear. This piece came from Stonehenge. If we turn it around, that face can sit bottom right, but it just doesn't seem to be anywhere near as defined. It does seem as though the main representation is bottom left. So for whatever reason, that's a slight difference. Same size as the others, but just a slight variation in the typology. Almost a totem feel with another face that pops up here. I can't exactly explain why it varies so much. We can get a face on the bottom right here, eye, nose, mouth. So it could be kind of playing with the typology. Most of the others that I've found, though, that I've been showing, have been found more in the area of Sussex, whereas this was found, like I say, near Stonehenge, so Wiltshire area, some more over to the west. So I don't know whether it's a kind of variation due to a variation in geography. However, I did show earlier a piece from Silbury Hill, which is closer to where this was found, and that did fit more into the typology. So I don't know if that is the explanation, but interesting to show a piece with this slight variation. Interestingly, when turned on the side, it's more in the range of 3 finger widths, and in that category the dominant face is on the left. So whether this is some sort of way of signifying that although this piece, when it's up like this, is in the 5 fingers, on the side it's more in the range of 3, showing that it kind of fits into both typologies. That's definitely a possibility. Size 5 fingers, face on the right, eye, nose and mouth. We get another face here, eyes, nose and mouth. A figure, animal or some such, with a face here. And this is a calcined piece of flint. Again, you can see it's been cracked into these angular sections, targeted removal to create the features of the different images. And from the side we get these lovely side profile faces based around this one, both sides. And we also get this, you can see along the left there is a very interesting face in a kind of larger aspect, with the whole piece creating a kind of head. I'll just pop the light down so I can point out those features: eye, nose, mouth with lips, bearded character. Very beautiful piece, not found too far from Chanctonbury Ring, which, although is Iron Age in its construction as a hill fort, there's also been finds there dating to the Neolithic at least, and I'd suggest it was a significant site in the at least Mesolithic and probably Paleolithic too. 5 fingers, face along the right, not so much bottom right, but along the right, eye, nose, mouth, some kind of headwear, but forming in kind of total form some kind of figure of a bear, quite stylized, almost caricature like, with the eye, long nose or long snout, rest of the body, head. We also get an additional face here, in the kind of cheek area of this face, like a double portrait with the eye, second eye, nose here, and the mouth. In the lighting, those features come out really nicely. So again, eye, nose, mouth, and the smaller face, eyes, nose, mouth, and then the bear figure looking off to the left. 5 finger widths, exceptional piece, face on the right, eye, nose, mouth, wearing some kind of a large hat with a kind of conical pointed shape, maybe hair represented coming down here, long hair, and yeah, just love the work on this piece, the way the features sit. Again, eye, nose, mouth, chin, the hat, forehead, hat, possibly hair protruding from the bottom of the hat, so the kind of rim of the hat here. Beautiful piece, and this was found on Chanctonbury Hill, which obviously has at its summit the Hill Fort Chanctonbury Ring, which was also the site of a Roman temple, so a very significant site, and I think it's quite likely this piece was also heat treated. You've got this interesting sort of coloration coming out in the flint, and that's probably due to heat treatment, which part of the editing process for working this piece. Interestingly, for this piece, if we turn it up on the side in the kind of natural features in the cortex, we also get a face with eye, nose, mouth, and obviously more like an animal as opposed to a person, perhaps either cattle. Seems most likely cattle with a kind of horn, perhaps coming down off the side here. Possibly a dog, but I think most likely cattle, cow, oryx. 5 fingerwits, face on the right, eye, nose, mouth, chin, neck, rest of the head. Again, it's either hair tied back in a bob, but going to this sort of point with this triangular pointed shape. I think this is obviously depicting a female, the hair tied in a bob. So usually seems to be depicting a middle-aged female, the hair tied back in a bob. So that's slight difference, where we've mostly been getting the man on the right with the beard. Here we have the female, but perhaps ties in with the mother and child theme, possibly. But we do, if we turn the piece, we do get another face on this side, again looking to the right, down and to the right, with eye, nose, mouth, with a more masculine look, again possibly with the hat indicated. So this is perhaps actually tying in with the typology overall, but for me the kind of stronger, more pleasing face is this one. We do also get some figures on the back here with a bearded man with a moustache and a beard here, and some additional faces along these edges in a kind of totem figure-like form. I'm just going to try and stand this up again and get some lighting on it, so a bit of an angle. Again, we can see her, she almost seems to have her head sort of tilted back slightly, but definitely looking down to the right. Eye, nose, mouth, hair tied back. From this angle we can see some of the figures on the left side, so again that kind of idea of having totem like figures along the left edge, with the main face looking to the bottom right. This was found, this stone, on the fields that surround Stonehenge 5 finger widths, face on the right, bottom right, eye, nose, mouth, chin, jawline, hairline, hair tied back, possibly wearing a hat, but I think more hair tied back. Beautiful piece. Those features just excellent in the lighting. Again, eye, nose, mouth, nicely defined lips, hairline, hair tied back or wearing a hat. Hard to say for certain. This piece was found on the North Downs, so the chalk ridge just south of London, and when it's laid flat, possibly has a bear like feel, bear head almost feel to it as well. But a thoroughly beautiful, really beautiful piece in my opinion. 5 finger widths, face along the bottom right, eye, nose, mouth, rest of the face, large conical hat, but we also get the figure here on the left, eye, nose, mouth, but we get the arm in the cradling posture. So again, perhaps the mother and child theme, Earth Mother, cradling the child, fertility, symbolism. Lovely piece, again, eye, nose, mouth, and if we flip it round we can see we also get features here, bottom right and bottom left, which is the other side of the face here, and we can also get a kind of figure indicated in the overall shape as well. Lovely work on this. Again, most likely it's been heat treated with the angular removal in sections. Size 5 fingers, face on the right, bottom right, eye, nose, mouth, chin, jawline. We can see the work around here to create the kind of contours and the face shape. It's a beautiful piece. We also get the angular pointed headwear. Quite interesting on this piece as it runs, as you see from the side view, at quite an angle. If we get the light on this piece, it's really a really beautiful piece. Again, eye, nose, mouth, chin and jaw, hat. I think it's quite possible that there's an animal shape intended as a kind of upright figure with the head here, rest of the body, possibly a bear being indicated. 5 finger widths, face bottom right, 1 eye, 2 eye, nose, mouth, the kind of top lip arching over from the left, which we've seen as a common feature in this size order. Secondary face to be found on the left edge, eyes, nose, mouth. and the features come out nicely. I know these are all quite shiny. It rained just before I videoed this, so a lot of the stones were a bit wet. I've had them under a cover, but some water got through. But again, eye, second eye, nose, mouth here, top lip arching over from the left, and the rest of the head, slight point hat or pointed hat or some pointed headwear, and then the along the left edge, secondary face with eyes, nose, mouth. This was found along the south coast, so beach find. When this piece is flipped around, we do get this other quite remarkable face with one eye, second eye, long nose, and then a low mouth. Quite a large gap between the nose and the mouth. Very stylized look to it, but fantastic work on it. Obviously the crown of the head here. 5 finger widths. Again, the face on the lower right. Eye, nose, mouth. Again, the section that comes in, arching in from the left. And large headwear. Really beautiful piece, or possibly some form, animal form indicated in this section here. Head of the animal here. This obviously uses the anamorphic technique. If we can really get the features nicely, if we tilt it slightly and get some lighting on it, you can see it's that same face that we've been seeing at the bottom right in this size order with the anamorphic technique. We do also get another face on the bottom right with the tilt, but we can also spin it back this way, and we seem to get a representation of the same figure along the whole left edge. But this is a lovely piece. It does appear to be a core or some kind of tool, and I mean the work on this is undeniable that this is worked, but whether many professionals, academics, lithic experts or otherwise would agree that it has intentional imagery on it, I'm sure, almost certain that most academic lithic specialists would absolutely refute that there is any intentional imagery on this. I know and understand that, but of course I would absolutely dispute it. 5 fingers, face arranged here on the right, eye, second eye, nose, this triangular section here, and then the mouth, slightly open mouth, perhaps smiling. So quite a different representation on this piece to what we've seen on a lot of the others, but still I would say fitting in the typology absolutely. You get the conical headwear, again one eye, second eye, nose here in this triangular shape, and then the mouth here, chin, neck, face shape, and the conical headwear. Perhaps as we spin it round we get bird shape in the overall form, which is interesting because that was a common theme in the 4 finger width size range. So again, those themes can sometimes pop up and jump categories. With this piece on the side, it is roughly 4 finger widths, and that could be why, could be indicating that it sits in both categories depending on its orientation, which it's not the first time we've seen something like that. 5 finger widths, face to the lower right, looking lower right, eye, nose, mouth, with the chin, jaw, rest of the head, hairline, and then the pointed headwear. Secondary figure can be made out on the left edge: eye, nose, mouth, face, hairline, back of the head. And the features do come out really nicely in the light. Again, eye in this kind of section of remaining cortex, then nose and mouth here. And if we turn this piece, try and get it resting if I can, we can perhaps make out the bird shape again in its overall form, and more so if we tilt it. And again, that's a theme from the four finger width category, and again, if this is put on the side, it's more in the range of 4 finger widths. So again, I'd suggest a piece that can go into both categories depending on the orientation. 5 finger widths, face on the right, eye, nose and mouth, hairline, hat, conical shape, and we can, with the tilt, we can kind of get these protruding lips with the anamorphic style. But if we take this piece and tilt it, we get again the unmistakable form of a bird with the head, eye, beak, its body, wings to the side of the body, tail in this section here with tail, so kind of upright bird. And again, we saw that frequently in the last or 4 finger width size category, and again with this on the side, it's more in the range of 4 finger widths. 5 finger widths, really like this piece. Face on the right, eye, nose, mouth, chin, neck. Then we have the pointed headwear, headdress. 5 finger widths, really interesting piece. Face on the lower right, eye, nose, mouth, chin, here, and the neck. Sort of hairline here, very large hat or headdress, and oh sorry, I'll just get some of the lighting on that to bring out, see those features again. Eye, nose and mouth. With this piece, if we flip it, we kind of get the female aspect, with the female face here, of eye, second eye, nose and mouth. So the female face in this kind of white section here, and then a kind of indication of the rest of the body. We have arms again extending out in that kind of cradling posture. So I'd suggest that this is again hinted at the mother and child theme. There are other faces, another face here with eye, second eye, nose and mouth, very small, and even another face here with the black and white stripes, eye, nose, mouth. All of these, I believe this is all indicating the Earth Mother. So I've just got so many in this size range. I've just gone through quite a few, and then there's still all of these in the box, and I don't think I'm going to go through them all because there's so much. But I think what I'm going to do next is just kind of, rather than giving descriptions for each one, I'm just going to show through a load that are in this box. This one's really similar to another one, previous one that I showed. But again, yeah, the face, bottom right, eye, nose, mouth. This one, unusually, is kind of face on the left for this size, eye, nose, mouth. Really great piece, really excellent face that stands out a lot. Obvious head with the obvious headwear, hat, eye, nose, mouth, hat. Kind of get something with it flipped round, but definition with it on the left. Again, possibly because more like four fingers when it's on the side. Same with this one, especially if you get the lighting on it. You can see it's cool, really cool face, but on the left rather than on the right. Can kind of flip it, get something bottom right, but it's definitely more defined on the left. Here's a really nice one with a kind of anamorphic technique. Those three lines at the bottom right, tilt it and they can become facial features: top line, eye, middle line, nose, bottom line, mouth. Very simple but effective. Another really nice one, but again, seeming as though the face is more defined on the bottom left. You can sort of tip it, get something on the right, but again, definitely feels stronger on the left side piece, but again the face more strong on the left than really on the right, although on the back you get this very cool face, which is mostly, these are kind of natural dimples in the flint and a kind of natural protrusion, but the mouth has been placed, as you can see. So some that fit in the range, but where the kind of some of the consistency and the typology varies. This one is more in with the typology, but it's a quartz piece rather than flint. All the others pretty much have been flint. You can see the face on the bottom right here. There are some in this size order like this, which seems to be indicating an animal, probably a bird, sitting upright. And there's another one like that, which again seems to be pretty clearly showing a bird sat upright, with its head looking off to the right. So, but still in the 5 finger widths. Here's a nice core, which if we get the lighting right, yeah, there's a nice face on the left here, eye, nose, mouth, yeah, but this is, yeah, core, but you can see the work on this, but definitely fits in the 5 finger size range. But again, the face on the left, we can flip it, I suppose, and get the kind of negative along the back here, but it seems the depth in the face is from this side, with kind of hats and sections, flaked sections, giving the impression of sort of hair, the hat and some hair coming down. See with this one, it kind of creates a figure along the left edge with the face here, and you can see, yeah, from when you get it here, it's a really lovely straight on view. I have to put the light down to be able to point out the features, unfortunately. Eyes, here, nose, mouth. If I just bring the light back on that, I mean, that's just, it's really, really nice, done really well. Face here on the right as well, but harder to find the same face bottom right that we've been seeing in with the rest in this size order, but again, a really lovely piece. Last one I wanted to show was this piece, which seems to be like a bear head or a badger head or something like that, with the eye, snout, rest of the head, ear, and it is a really nice piece. I really like this one, the way it's worked. Possibly a face to be seen on the bottom right here, if I bring it in quite closely, but it's quite hard to discern. But the animal head is very noticeable, but when it's up on the side, definitely fits in the 5 fingers. There is this really caricature-like face on the left side, eye, really massive pointy nose, mouth. Perhaps has bird-like feel to it, and when it's on this way, it's 4 finger widths, so I think it fits in both categories.